All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Recovery. Welcome everyone to Real Talk Recovery. I am your host, Miss Mo, and I am here to give y'all another episode. This is where we keep it real, share our lived experience, and just speak the truth about our real conversation, having real conversations, speaking the truth, and having real experience here. I do have a guest speaker by the name of David Jefferson. He has joined us today. It's going to be a great conversation. David Jefferson is a true example of turning experience into action as CEO and founder of Stackin Kickz Clothing, also host of the Calculated Conversation radio show, and the founder and director of CEO of the Definition of Success Mentorship program. David shows his journey, insights, and strategies for using personal experiences to lead mentors and also uplift others. I don't know a whole lot about his story, and we're all going to learn together here, Big Steppers. So y'all give it up for David Jefferson. Hi, David. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here.
Good. Thank you so much.
Good,
As you
good.
know, this is something that I'm really excited about. I just started this podcast, and my truth is that I had issues speaking for a very long time, and so
Right,
I'm now facing my fears of like social anxiety, and my
right.
recovery has a lot to do with expressing myself verbally these days. So,
Well,
um,
thank you.
I
Thank you for that. Just wanted to congratulate you on that. That's powerful. Speaking your truth, creating a platform, it gets super uncomfortable. I'm an introvert, and when God told me to start speaking and like around 12, 13, 14 years ago, I was like, nah, I don't do that. But he told me my story was more important than my fear of speaking, and the impact was the thing I need to focus on. You know what I'm saying? And so I just kept doing it and kept doing it, and then I eventually got good at it. But it started off very uncomfortable, very shy, very much an introvert. So anybody with the courage to step on the platform and bypass that in order to get the word out, extremely is very much doing God's work. So congrats and thank you for sharing your stories and highlighting other stories for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I understand that you are a CEO of a clothing line. That's as far as I kind of dug into you. And then when I started like seeing your posts and you posting lots of different type of content and speaking your truth
Right.
and kind of like inspiring other people, that's when I was like, you know what, I want to learn more about David. Who is Mr. Jefferson? So can you give us a brief understanding of why you decided to even just kind of branch into this direction of the industry, and what kind of motivated you to keep with it and stay consistent?
When you say industry, what do you mean fashion or what do you mean by industry?
The fashion industry. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, that's cool. Thinking about fashion, again, man, just going through a lot of things, getting into a lot of trouble. I think identifying with the streets for so long, being raised without a male role model or father figure to really guide me. I the streets became my role model. You know what I mean? I followed a lot of the formulas and patterns that I learned in the inner city, Northeast Portland. Definitely got into a lot of trouble. I mean, we can go deep into my history. Like, I'm no saint, never been no saint, growing up, just a normal young black man trying to find himself and define his own level of success. And I think for a while, I thought that the streets represented success, like that's, when that's all you see, that's how you define success. And I want to say as I grown up and start becoming a man and I started getting results and setbacks from that level of success or that definition, I started to realize that wasn't it, right? I started realizing that trying to find success outside of yourself and I think identify with an environment or some type of a social structure, I realized that that was not it. And so the reason why I got into fashion, long story short, is because I was looking for a definition of success for the first time internally. This is the first time I decided to look for success inside of myself. And that was direction from God. When I asked God, what about, I've been in trouble, I've been locked up, I've been through so much stuff. How do I define success now? And he said, you need to look within you. And so when I looked in me at that time, I didn't know nothing but my love for fashion. That's all I ever really cared about was looking good, putting outfits together. I love the sneaker culture, love shoes. And so I was like, well, this is all that I love. And God was like, okay, good. Now you got somewhere to start. I'm like, yeah, but I've never seen nobody make a living off this. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, it's up to you to start figuring it out. This the only thing that you love right now. Well, you need to start with love, and this is where you're going to start. So you're going to figure it out. So the first thing I did, I was like, all right, well, I just start throwing, clothes in my trunk and say, hey, I sell clothes. You know what I'm saying? That's all I knew. I didn't know nothing else.
Yeah.
I just threw it in the trunk, started driving it around and tried to make it a normal part of my life. I said, at least I'm doing something I love. That was the first time I started making money in a way that I love. Now I ain't gonna say I made no money, but I'm gonna say that's when I started getting on that journey of
Yeah,
wanting to make sure that whatever I did, it was something that I loved. That was that
exactly.
was that was that was my prerequisite why I got into fashion.
Yeah, I love that. I like what you said. It was just a matter of trying to take what you had right in front of you and work what you got.
Hmm.
And it wasn't about the money. It's about just the passion, trying to,
Yeah,
use your time in a way that's going to be influential to you, to yourself. And I
yeah,
think that's pretty cool. I think that's something that a lot of us, we learn to do that over time. Not everybody get it
yeah.
so soon. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And may I
Well,
ask you how old you were when you kind of like discovered that piece?
yeah, I was ahead of my. I mean, at that time, I mean, I think I was probably in my late 20s.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I'd been in prison. I sold drugs growing up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And, like, not a little bit. I mean, I made a living for a short time of
right,
selling
right.
drugs before I got popped, you know what I'm saying? I was in my late 20s. And then when I got out, my science changed. I really, for some reason, like I appreciated being in prison for the moment. I didn't know what was happening, but I was like, this is a transformation. Like, this is something different. I can't do anything that I've ever done before. So that's what I knew coming out. Now, what I was going to do, I didn't know, but I
Right.
knew what I wasn't going to do. And so the first thing I did was I just went to a job. I went and got a job, customer service, answering phones. That's the easiest thing you can get, coming fresh out of trouble. And I stuck there until I said, God, I ain't no employee. Like
Yeah.
I can't go back, but I'm not no employee like that. And so what can I do? And he said, what do you love? And I said,
Mm,
shoes and
there
clothes.
we go.
And so I was ahead of my time. Nobody was in the city doing shoes and clothes, and there was no brands out here, especially from our urban community. So I was really taking the chance. And you can only do something like that with guidance from God, who's going to show you your truth. This is why we got to make sure we walk in truth and authenticity, because it'll command your steps, even if you see nobody else doing it.
Yes.
Now everybody's doing it now, so it's cute and it's cool. But when I did it, nobody was doing it. All I had was God to guide me, and my love for the culture.
Mm, amazing. That is really great. Like, and I see that. I see that in everything that you do. Do you work as a team do you have a team of people that you work with? Did it take
It,
for you to be a leader first and then gather your team? Or did you actually stumble upon a group of people that said, hey, you know what? I believe in you.
yeah.
Let's take a chance with you as well and give you that push that you needed.
Yeah, no, I never got the push, man. I didn't have never had a team. It was just my pure determination and commitment to what I said I was going to do. I was going to change
Yeah.
my life. And I had never been used to having no help, so I didn't really believe in help. I didn't know about business loans. I didn't know about grants. I didn't know about any of those things. And so anything that I created was literally just what they call bootstrapping. You know what I'm saying? Nickels and dimes out my pocket, to get started. Like I had $1,000 to my name. And I remember putting it all in shirts and being extremely fearful about this, and wanting to change my mind. And God said, listen, if you don't do it now, like when would you do it? And I was like, damn, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. So I said, all right. So I went and put everything, I'll put everything that I have into what I believe in. And that's truly one of the differences, I think, in me. And a lot of people that say they're entrepreneurs or, say that their own bosses, I'm willing to invest everything I have to
Yeah.
in what I believe in. And that's what's got me this far, because you don't really get this far being fearful. You need faith in God and you need faith in yourself.
Yeah, they say they said scary money don't make money. My
No,
uncle used to say that a lot.
yeah, that's the
Scary money
old
don't
school.
make money, Mo. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna do it, go do it.
Yeah,
And
that's
so I
real.
think I applied that as well. I did that in a different way, and I used transferable skills today. But in my past life, I put everything I got in my addiction. You know, and so now that I'm living a different type of lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. Now I'm placing it towards a different direction and bringing self-awareness and awareness to my community.
Mhm.
And I see you doing that. And I'm like, oh man, I actually look up to you. And there's a whole tribe of us as 80s babies
Thank you, thank you.
that actually look up to you. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was about that time for me to speak on it. Y'all, let me go ahead, David, before we get deeper into your journey and get deep into our conversation here. I want to go ahead and talk about the episodes, or at least the topics that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
We already spoke on how lived experience can guide authentic leadership. We got the journey of building businesses rooted in purpose, the power of mentorship in changing lives. We're going to also talk about why storytelling is a tool for transformation, and then strategies to overcome obstacles and stay resilient. Y'all, this is going to be one heck of a show, so just bear with me because I got about 12 thoughts running through my head, and I'm trying to get at least just one of them out at a time. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
for sure. So, before we get even into that, let's do have a quick break and talk about one of our sponsors here, Portland.gov. Y'all, Portland.gov have a great website. That's Portland.gov/parks. They want us to focus on the parks and recreations. There's a lot of different places where we all can have a great time. Community can live in beauty in the city. This is finding different parks. You can also find recreational activity guides. You can even find a job and look for employment on this website. Anything and everything you may need is here, and it doesn't cost not 1 cent. Y'all go ahead and visit Portland.gov when you're out there being bored. No need to get yourself in any trouble. You can always go to the park and have a good time. All right, let's get back into it, David. Thank you. So, okay, so this is really good because our big stepper has sent a question here. Let me see. Big stepper says for the lived experience in leadership, it says, what advice do you have for people who feel their experiences aren't enough to lead others?
Um, well, the thing is about, I think a lot of people say that. I hear that often. Even if it's not enough to lead as many people you want to lead or lead the people you want to lead, you're somewhere that someone else, would love to be, and so even though you just have certain milestones that you hit, that may not cover the full ground where you're trying to go, you are somewhere that someone wants to be. You guys are going this way and you're here and they're here, like that means you can lead them in this space right here.
Yeah,
Right. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so you always got, they had me speak. Listen, they were asking me to speak in schools. My brand was only about a year old. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing out the trunk stuff with shoes and clothes for about 4 or 5 years, and I started my brand, but my actual brand was maybe a year old, maybe two max. It was asking me to speak. I hadn't had success in it yet. So what did I do? I gave them advice and spoke up until my journey at that point.
right.
So when I speak, I just speak up until the point that I'm at now. And that inspires people who aren't at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I still look up to people. I still look up to people that are further than me. I still watch a lot of podcasts and and motivational speeches, they're further than where I am. And then I give a lot of podcast speeches and motivational speeches to people who aren't where I am. And
Yeah.
so like it's not about being all the way there or being the maximum the maximum success model is really just about how far you've come from where you used to be, because that is quite a journey. That is the impact. And that's somewhere other people are still trying to navigate. Someone's still trying to navigate to get
Yeah.
where you are. That's
Yeah.
just the way it
Yeah.
is.
And I love that. I completely agree with that. And I can say, my Big Stepper squad, we're about 1,300 deep, and I'm okay with that. I'm not playing a race game. This is not going viral. I'm just catering to my tribe of people,
Hmm.
where we don't have to be perfect and we don't have to and be this, example of what society wants us to be. We are just recovering from trauma and so forth. And so I can completely relate to you because I mean, I'm looking at you and you are a hometown mentor. And speaking of mentors, I mean, you got the mentorship, the definition of success
Yeah.
mentorship program. Can you tell us about that? Because that had my mind blown.
Yeah, yeah. Definition of success. Again, it comes from modules of my own life. A lot of people are wanting to know. Oftentimes, I hear the story of, man, like you come from this area. Most people do this. You're doing this. You speak like this, or you had this type of success. What's different from you than from some of the people where you come from? Why are you different? And I always say, well, it's a good question, man. And over time, I realized the difference was I've been able to define my own success.
Yeah.
I've been able to create a life on my terms based off who I am, not who they want me to be or
Mhm.
not who they think I should be. Like my motto is based off my truth, and that's the only way I know how to operate, and I got to stand on that. But that's also what puts me in a space to receive success and also to be acknowledged as a different type of light than what people normally see. I might shine a little bit brighter because I'm an individual, right? When
Right.
you're an
Right.
individual, you're separate, right? When you're
Ooh.
when you're collective, you look like everybody else doing that thing, which means
Yes.
that you're probably not taking advantage of the gifts that God gave you specifically, right?
Yeah.
And those things can get, overshadowed by you trying to join the collective, and be in the popular space with whatever they're doing. So definition of success is about that. So I broke down different modules of my life, and I was thinking about how much I needed a mentor or a role model or somebody to explain to me how to find myself starting a little bit younger.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't have started finding myself in my late 20s. I would have started finding myself in my late teens,
Right.
right? You know, and so I said, well, I'm gonna just see if I can use my life story, especially why I'm smack dab in the middle of my success. What was important about definition of success? It's a class that is created while I'm in the middle of my highest point in success,
Mhm.
right? Not after I'm a has been or not before I've ever experienced it, but the things that I'm teaching, I'm actively pursuing and doing as soon as I'm done with class,
Right.
so that my students can see like this guy is actually really who he say he is. He's actually utilizing these concepts, and he's experiencing in his success that he's teaching us. We got to listen to him at least a little bit.
Right.
And so that was kind of the idea. So I figured that I take these guys in. I show them different ideologies that I use to find myself: individuality, spirituality, authenticity, playing the game like it's a coach in the crowd, always understanding energy management. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a
You
big
know,
one. That's a huge one. The
yeah,
energy management. That is so important. That's
energy
just as
management.
important as that's the spirituality of it all right there. Learning how to preserve our energy is so important. How can we be productive if we don't have that key element of knowing when to stop and say no, or knowing what to say and what not to say, and just little things like that preserves our energy.
Yeah,
Self-preservation is another way of kind of expressing that for all those who's trying to understand what that means.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's pretty much how I've learned to express myself and, express my individuality, and show that to the kids and make sure that they get an idea of um, just understanding how you find yourself, teaching the signs in how you actually find yourself and locate yourself, and then
Yeah.
how you express that. Part of your success is how you express yourself to the universe, right? Part of your success is, how well you know yourself, how well you know people,
Yeah.
and again, how well you can play the game like it's a coach, like it's a scout in the crowd, and understand how your energy is impacting people around you, and also playing the game for not just the people that you can see, but the people that can see you that you can't.
Mm,
So a lot of people don't understand that you also playing this game for people that you can't see. And those people that you can't see, they hold keys to doors that you need to walk through. And so a lot of people they don't acknowledge things that they can't see. And that's the power in spirituality. You
ooh.
you believe in the things that you can't see and you make them real until they show up, and
Wow.
so that's a big part of definition of success. Really, really teaching them how to define themselves internally, separate yourself from your environment, and shine differently. So the things that need to see you to assist you in going to your next level, so that they can acknowledge you and they can see you. They can see how you deal with your teammates. They can see how you communicate with the coach. They can see how you communicate with the opposing team, right?
Yeah.
They can see how you communicate with the fans. All that makes sense. So when it's time for you to get to the next level, they say, "Hey, that's the person that I want to work with." And that's when your life steps up and you get opportunities that knock on your door that you didn't even see coming. A lot of people lose opportunities before they ever even see them because
Yeah.
of this reason. And that's been a testament in my own life. I've had so many opportunities, so many dope awards, so many, dope acknowledgments in the community that I never even saw coming. I didn't know these people even saw me. When I meet people, they like, man, I'm like, how you doing? My name is David. They said, spare me the introduction. I know exactly who you are and what you've done, and I'm one of your biggest fans. And I'm like, oh, my bad. We don't know who's paying attention. And so you want to be accountable for the things that you can't see. And a lot of people, once they pick up on that type of energy, they'll be having a little bit deeper impact.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I love that. That's big stuff right there. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you were to even add a different age range onto that class because I would love to be a student. I mean, if you made that into a virtual class for us to
Oh,
just
you,
log
oh, oh, you, oh, you
in,
asked me about that for this.
I'll log right on in because I love that type of stuff. I need to I know where I'm weak at, and I know where my strengths are. And to have a mentor to point out those things for me, it
Mhm.
really helps me not to be so down on myself and to help me show myself that compassion. And I think that's the purpose of having a mentor, really, is to have someone else to kind of say, yeah, you're right. This could work, but let me show you another way you can handle this.
Right.
Let's not beat yourself up about this because you don't stop. And then you can still keep going. Let
Uh-huh.
me pep you to keep going.
Yep, yep.
So how do you do that? How do you encourage those who just like struggling in the area and they just like, man, like really beating themselves about it? How do you encourage them to keep going?
Well, usually people are beating themselves up is for one or two things. Well, I don't know, it could be several things, but one thing that people struggle with is that they want it to happen on their time. And
Mhm.
it's like you have to turn the clocks off. You don't really get to decide when the success takes place or when you feel fulfilled. All you get to decide is that you're going to continue to do this every day. And I think that's the difference. People quit sometimes before the breakthrough because they have a time on it. Like when people say, I need to be married by a certain age, I just don't believe in that because there's no there's no amount of time that can equate to me being the right person and meeting the right person or doing the right thing or having my brand or my mission connect with the right culture or the right industry. You don't know when that's going to happen. You don't know when somebody's going to say, boom, that's the person. All you know is I got to keep putting the work in on the daily. Once you separate yourself from the outcome, you'll find more peace in the journey, right? And a lot of times people just maybe sometimes they're not doing it for the right reason. Like again, I did this because I loved it, and so that allows me to keep going when things don't work, right?
Yeah.
And if I don't love it, and if it's not really my passion, then I'm gonna find a reason to quit if I don't get paid, or if people don't acknowledge me,
Mhm.
and I think people got to really think about why they're doing it, and if you're doing it for the right reason and you're good at it, and this is who you truly are, and
Yeah.
then it's just a consistent effort and a time thing. That's it.
Mhm.
You don't get to decide when it happens. When people try to decide, that's when they stress themselves out. When people have like midlife crisis, it's because they think they should have been doing something by a certain age. Doesn't work like that.
Wow.
When you're able to maintain it, when you're able to embrace it, and it becomes truly you, and then you'll have that experience. Until then, you got to keep being you. You got to keep believing in things that you can't see. Again, spirituality and faith. People need to
Yeah.
have more faith.
Really did. Wow. It's so inspirational. I'm inspired. I don't know about y'all big steppers, but this is going to be good. We got more questions coming. Y'all keep it coming. Let's go ahead and check out another sponsor here that really believes in the Real Talk Recovery podcast. We're going to go ahead and mention Oregon.gov. Oregon.gov is a website the state of Oregon is wanting to push more often. This is a space where you can find DMVs. You can also deal with child support, wildfires. You could even look up employment and tax information. If you ever want to claim unemployment due to, loss of income or so forth, you can do that here as well. You can also register to vote in Oregon. This is a great, safe website. I think everyone can take full advantage of it. If you're looking to move to Oregon, this would be a great space to start to do your research. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you go to Oregon.gov. Have a great one. Let's go ahead and
Yep.
get back to Mr. Jefferson, David Jefferson.
What's up?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I really love what I do. So it really feels good. It's so high vibrational to be around others that's on the same tip. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right.
It really feels great. There's something that a big stepper wanted to ask you.
What is
Uh,
it?
it says, "How can you share a success? Can you share a success story from someone you've mentored that really impacted you?"
Oh man, shoot. God, I've heard so many dope stories. Uh, I mean, I can say a few of them. I was reading one this morning, which was weird. I mean, I was on a podcast like about God, this had to been about 5 years ago. And again, I was talking about fashion. I was talking about industry. I was doing it with my guy Brian with Black Mannequin. We were talking about the culture of fashion. And then somebody sent me a comment and they said, "Man, I just started my brand." And I seen him at a pop-up shop that year. And he's like, "Man, I started my brand because I saw you guys' this podcast. And it made me think that I can do it. And I was like, oh, dang, it worked. And so I remember I just saw that today as a memory. But I know, for instance, I got a buddy named Alan Bell. He runs Hannah's Food Cart, Hannah Snowballs.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
shout out
and
to Hannah. Yeah, for
a
sure.
lot of a lot of people don't know that I was one of the, I think, I ain't gonna say the first, but I was one of the pioneers of really getting into the food cart industry back in 2014.
Mhm.
I dropped a cart on MLK called Peaches Ready Spaghetti Cart. So I took my mom's famous spaghetti recipe and she passed away, so I wanted to honor her. And so I brought that to the community in 2014. Just didn't know what I was doing, just so random. I'd already started Stackin, so I had a little bit of a buzz already. Stackin
Right.
was started in 2010. And so because of that, Peaches Ready was able to ride on the backs of me and Stackin Kickz. And became a success story. Like the first day, like sold out. And then I just was building that for about a year and a half. Eventually I got back to fashion and doing fashion shows for the community, and the new brands coming up. But Alan started in Hannah's. He said, I started because I saw what you did, man. You made me think that I could, literally just do what I want and be more creative. Because
Yeah.
at that time, people are only doing like burgers and tacos and, just hot dogs and simple stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they saw me come up with something that nobody ever had sold before in the cart. And it was like, what's he doing with a spaghetti cart? It was something new for people. And again, that was an expression of my individuality. That was me
Hmm.
separating myself
You're
from the
right.
rest of the carts and also being authentic because this was my mother's recipe, who I love dearly. And I wanted to
Yes.
bring her energy down. I wanted her energy to continue. And so, because of that cart, Alan was able to do hand of snowballs to get the inspiration. My guy Portland George at Mando's told me the same thing. He said I started Mando's because I saw you do the spaghetti cart. So there's a lot more people that I inspired. I know my guy got a brand called Black Mannequin. He said, man, when I saw, because I did Stackin in 2010, he did Black Mannequin in 2017. And he
Yeah.
said, man, you made me think I could do it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just little stories like that I'm like, man, like this inspiration stuff is real. And this is why you got to step out on faith. This is why sometimes you gotta be at the front of the tunnel and you gotta like break the walls down so people can come behind you. And
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say that's why I did it. I'm just crazy, it ain't nothing I don't believe I can't do. So, that gets a little bit weird at times because you just got all these ideas, but to see people pick up and pull it and create it and succeed in it, and knowing that my energy played a role in that. I mean, that's special, man. I think that's what life is truly about. And so those are things that also keep me in alignment and help me understand that, man, your life is truly worth something.
You know what? You onto something on that one because you inspired me when me looking at you, and it's not even about the spaghetti cart that got me really going right now. It's the fact that me when I was walking through Lloyd Center
Right.
and I ran into your store. I said,
Right.
oh, maybe I could do some merch for my podcast.
Yep. Yep.
That's where my mind went. And right now, I am designing some stuff. But I'm like,
See?
that's what inspired me to keep
Right.
to expand myself, think a little bigger. You know what I'm saying? Watching you
Mhm.
do your thing. I know we only have 10 more minutes, maybe less than that, like 8 more minutes on this
That's it.
particular Zoom. So, y'all, I want to go ahead and cut it short. If you want to finish the remaining and listen to the remaining of this episode, go ahead and download Podbean. You can find this podcast on Podbean, Real Talk Recovery Podcast. Okay. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and end this video. You can find this video on YouTube. And before we continue on, David, do you want to go ahead and just kind of say something inspirational or maybe even tell your location of your store so people can probably, come in and shop?
Yeah, yeah. I'm at the Lloyd Center Mall, Portland, Oregon. Right next to Joe Brown's. Um, we one of the oldest active brands in the city, urban brands for sure. I don't know, man. I just want to make sure people believe in themselves, just be authentic. Understand what type of world we live in. You know what I'm saying? You got to be intentional with protecting your peace, protecting your energy, and staying focused. You got a circle of influence or realm of influence, and that's where all your energy should be spent. It shouldn't be spent on arguing with people about what they believe in, what their politics is, who don't like you, trying to change people's opinion
Yeah.
on you. Like you got to focus on you, where your power structure is, and how to impact that level. You know what I'm saying? And so think more about your community and the people that surround you that you can touch every day, instead of having an argument with somebody online over somewhere in Ireland about what they believe in. Like stay focused, stay intentional. Your energy is very important. And your words impact people that you can't see. Your actions impact people that you can't see. And so the best way to, I feel like, is to create a life is to find a way to live it on your own terms. If you want to be happy, your life has to be created on your terms. And what your
Hmm.
terms mean is that it's built off you doing the things that represent who you truly are, what you truly love, and what God truly brought you here to do. And I think when you stay in that space, you'll find peace, you'll find happiness, you'll create money, you'll create finances, you'll create impact, and you'll live a fulfilling life. And you'll look back at it and you won't have no regrets, you know? And so if there's one thing that I fear, even though people are like, what you fear? Nothing. No, I do have one fear. And the fear is to spend time on this earth and not have the impact and deliver the purposes I was designed to deliver. You know, that's my fear, is wasting my time. Like, don't
Yeah.
waste your time. Get
Mhm.
out there, just try, get uncomfortable, have the conversation, do the speech, create the podcast, do whatever you got to do, but
Yeah.
just don't waste the time. Just look back and say, man, you know, I did that. I did create that brand. I did create that talk show. I did write that book, or I did create that program. I did impact those people. You know, you can rest in that. You know, and time was was well managed and well used.
Thank you so
So
much. I appreciate that. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. For all my people that's
yep,
right here watching this video on YouTube, all the information that you need to know about Mr. David Jefferson and myself is in the description box. Thank you so much. God bless you all. All right.